Hi.
Alright, hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're brand new here, my name is Nikki and this is my book nook. Y'all, I have quite the treat for you today. I do not know the last time I was so excited to sit down and do a book review for you. Like this book, let me just stop. I'm gonna go off the rails. Let's just talk about what we're talking about. It is Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. This book and this little series have been floating around my Instagram timeline for quite a while now. Honestly, I hadn't seen a ton of people talking about it, but the people that I did see talking about it were so hardcore obsessed, in love. Like it started to feel like a cult, like a Magnolia Parks cult. Every time I would see it pop up, people were like bawling their eyes out, losing their mind, obsessed with this series. So I just like wasn't sure what to think about it because, I mean, first of all, like the cover of this book, the cover of all the books in this series, they're just like a little different. Like they do not look like your typical sort of romance books nowadays. Like I just did not know what to think of it looking at it, and the cover, like what it gives off to me is not at all what the story is about. But now that I know what the story is about and I'm looking at the cover, I'm like, oh my god, this is the most beautiful thing in the entire world. Like I am so beyond obsessed with it. Like it just makes so much sense. But yeah, all of this is to say, I obviously decided to pick up this book. I actually saw it in Barnes & Noble. I was like, you know what? I've been holding off on buying this. Like it's been in and out of my Amazon cart for so long. Seeing it here in person in Barnes & Noble, it just feels like a sign that I'm supposed to buy it. So I bought it, obviously. And I sat down to just like casually start reading it. And oh my god, I just simply didn't stop reading it because I simply couldn't. Like I do not know the last time I was so gripped by a book straight out the gate. Like this sucked me in so hard. It felt like I was in the book. Like that's the only way I know how to explain it. Like it felt like I was a part of this story and I was literally there witnessing it with all of these characters. It's truly not like anything I've ever read before, but let me just stop myself here. I'll just get into the basic synopsis, spoiler free, of course, and then we'll talk about all of this a little bit more, but oh my god. So Magnolia Parks actually follows, believe it or not, a girl named Magnolia Parks and this boy named BJ Valentine. And Magnolia and BJ live quite interesting lives. They are actually a part of London's high society. They are very much socialites. Magnolia's father is a super famous music producer. BJ is a model, influencer. They come from these super powerful families. They're in like this group of people that are just all super rich, super famous, super known to the public, and it's very like Gossip Girl-esque. That's kind of like the vibes I got right away from them, from their friend group. And Magnolia and BJ have been very close for a very long time. They've known each other since they were little kids. Magnolia was actually best friends with BJ's younger brother, and they have had quite the interesting relationship. They have had this just like deep soulmate connection for a very long time. Just this chemistry between the two of them that is like unexplainable. The two of them have been inseparable for so long, and they finally gave into their emotions and ended up dating each other back whenever they were teenagers. And they dated for several years, but ultimately they are like fire and freaking ice. Like they have a love that is so intense, so all-consuming, but it is just an absolute hot mess at the same time. The two of them, as much as they love one another, like they are just an explosion waiting to happen. And ultimately that is what happened. The two of them did split up. They have been split up for 3 years. Both of them have their own faults, their own issues, but BJ was the one to ultimately sort of destroy their relationship. It was kind of the final straw, what he did. And so we know when this story starts that they have been separated for 3 years, but even though they have broken up, they simply cannot stay away from each other. And it is a super toxic situation because the two of them, again, they are in this same friend group. All these people hang out all the time. They're constantly at events and social gatherings, and even though BJ and Magnolia, she goes by Parks in the story, even though BJ and Parks are not romantically involved anymore, they just like cannot be apart. Like they're together all the time. They end most of their nights in one another's beds. Like they haven't physically touched in years, but just emotionally they cannot let each other go. But it's just like not a good situation because they're so bad for each other in so many ways. Basically, Parks dates people to get BJ off her mind, but she never sleeps with them because she's only ever given that to BJ. But BJ, because he is so distraught by Parks dating other people, like sleeps with a different woman every single night. But he doesn't date anyone because like his love is only for Parks. Like that's just like right off the bat you can tell like, this is a little toxic, this is a little messed up. But they just can't stop. It's just like a constant cycle of them being around each other, them loving each other, them hurting each other, them getting in fights, them running separate directions, but running back into each other's arms by the end of the night. Like they just cannot separate, and it's not a good situation for either of them, but it's like they just hurt each other over and over, but they can't let each other go. So that is really what a majority of this story is about. It's kind of funny. This in a lot of ways is a story without too much of a plot. Like it's very much character driven. It's like when I try to really think of the plot, there really kind of isn't one. Like again, it's just focused on BJ and Parks's relationship, but at the same time, so much happens in this. Like there's so much drama between the two of them, drama within their families, drama within their friend group, like just over and over and over again, this cycle sort of continues, and you might think it gets repetitive, and like, I guess it does, but it also just doesn't at all, because it's just every day there's something different with these two. Like they, again, it sounds so toxic and it sounds so awful, the things that they do to each other. Like BJ just repeatedly hurts Parks, like over and over and over and over. Like he's constantly sleeping with different girls, and it destroys her, it breaks her apart. But like the thought of any other man like laying a finger on Parks like sends BJ into a rage. Like it's a horrible double standard, but it's like, it's so funny, the like juxtaposition, am I sounding fancy, of Magnolia like only dating people because with her it's like about the feelings, it's about the emotional connection, and then, you know, to BJ it's like the physical stuff. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just like, again, it's just physical, but at the end of the day, like Magnolia is just everything. And like this story just sounds like it would be one big toxic mess. And like, don't get me wrong, it is, but oh my God, I cannot even explain to you how much I love and adore this book. Like it sucked me in so fast. Just right off the bat, the writing style of this book. Jessa Hastings, I don't know who you are, I don't know where you came from. This is her debut novel, which is mind-boggling because I have never read anything written in the writing style of this woman. Like I don't even know how to explain it. It's like, it's dual point of view, first of all. So we jump back and forth between Parks and BJ and their perspectives. But it's like they're having a conversation with you. Like it's quite literally, again, like you're in this story. Like you feel like you are both Parks and BJ's best friend, and you are like walking through life with them, and they are just like telling you what is happening. Like they're having a conversation with you. Like you feel like you're there, and it's so like the things that they say, especially the things they say about each other, even though they're constantly hurting each other and horrible things are happening, like these two have a love for each other that is deeper than possibly any other book couple I have ever read. Like the way that they speak about each other, the way that they think about each other, just like all the little things they notice, like all of the stuff that just like looks like nothing but means everything to them. It is just written in a way that is so poetic and beautiful without at all being like pretentious or difficult to read. Like it just, every single line in this book, I was just like, oh my God, oh my God, like, oh my God. I don't even know how to explain it. Like lines in this book that don't even feel like they would be that impactful or that crazy. It's just like, she was able to say them in the most beautiful ways, and so quickly. I was so invested in this story. I was so invested in both of these characters, even though each of them have their faults, even though each of them have their issues. It's like I wanted with everything in me to root for them. Like Magnolia, oh my God, I love her. I love her with my whole heart and soul. I mean, she is such a badass. Like she's so confident. She's such a queen. She's got basically everyone in this city like worshiping at her feet. And it is very much deserved, because I just like, I wish I could have the confidence of this woman. And I just like want to ask myself in daily life now, like, what would Magnolia Parks do? Because that's what I want to do. Like she is just incredible, and she's also like the kindest soul. Like there's a lot to her, so much to her, and she just like, so many things that she said and did, I was just like, you go girl. And BJ, I mean, yeah, he definitely has his faults. Do not get me wrong. Like he's he's awful in so many ways, but I also still, it's just like, again, getting inside of his head and seeing the way that he thinks about Parks and like how he feels about her and just the way he sees her differently than the rest of the world, and just like this deep love he has for her, like it just like cracked my heart in half. I'm just like, if that's not it, I don't want it. I mean, I can go without all of the cheating and the heartbreak, but like the way that he feels about her, if I don't have that, I don't want it. It was amazing. And then there were even so many like side characters in this story. I am a person that typically does not love a book that has like a ton of characters. I get kind of lost. It's kind of hard for me to keep up with all of them and their names and who's who and who's important. And I did feel that for like a minute in this book. I was kind of like, okay, this friend group is kind of big. Like it was hard to remember like who's sibling, like who's friends with who's dating who's been with who. But like somehow it's like, it seemed like a lot, and then after like a minute, I got it. Like it just clicked and it was easy, and I really loved all of them. There is a character in this book named Tom, and if you've read this, you know all about him. I won't talk about him too much in this, but Tom deserves the entire world. Like he just made my heart explode. Like I just couldn't even stand it. I loved him so much. And then also obviously, because this is a book, there was going to be a twist in the story. And the big sort of like twist, I'm not gonna say what it is, so calm down. It's kind of like leading up to that, the whole story, like you don't know what happened with that, like what the deal was. And for so long, it was like in the back of my mind, and I was like, I'm not sure, is it gonna be this, is it gonna be that? For a while, I thought it wasn't even gonna be revealed. Like, I just wasn't sure. But when the big like twist of everything happened, my jaw was on the floor. Like, I was so shook. And maybe I'm an idiot, maybe every other person in the world saw it coming. I did not. That is the last possible thing I thought was going to happen, and it was so rough. I literally felt like my heart was torn out of my chest, and I hated it, but also I love that it made me feel like if a plot twist can truly like hurt me and make me feel real emotions, that's how I know it's good. One thing that I loved about this, about the twist, about the book, is that it was dramatic, it was rough, but it was real, you know? So many romance books, it's like, and I'm not saying that like Parks and BJ's relationship is like a relationship you should seek out or go after. Like, I'm not saying that they have a model relationship or anything like that, but it's just, I love the fact that there are characters in this story that have flaws, and they are real flaws, and they don't all just get fixed and ironed out in 5 seconds. At the end of the day, people are not gonna be perfect. Relationships are not gonna be perfect. People are gonna have issues, and sometimes people are just gonna screw up, and that's gonna happen. And that very much came out in this book, and it's just very different from a lot of romance books I read. You know, a lot of the times everything gets ironed out in the end, and it's all like perfect and butterflies and rainbows and happiness. And I just love that this story like just like truly screwed me up and messed with my head and felt like something real, and like I was going through this like traumatic event, and it just like, I feel so attached to these characters, and I'm so excited to continue to read about them. I'm so excited to go on to the next book in this series, which is called Daisy Hates. This story, from what I understand, focuses on a girl that was mentioned in this story a couple of times. We see her a couple of times. I believe it's actually this same story, but told from her perspective, but like, it'll be different because she's not really in this book too much, so it's like totally different things going on with her, but I feel like some events in here are going to be referenced. So it's not literally just like the same story verbatim from another perspective, because that's not really my thing. I hate when authors do that, but this, I'm so excited about. I'm so excited to continue this world. There are 3 total books in the series, and I just already know like this is going to be one of my absolute favorite series of all time. Like, I didn't even get 100 pages into this, and I was like, I already want to reread it. Like, I already want to start it over, and I want to annotate it. I want to highlight it. I want to tab it up. Like, and I'm going to soon. I'm going to have to reread this whole series, I feel like, right after I finish it, because it's just one of those, like, it's just like occupying a section of my heart now. Like, truly, I don't know. I don't know the last time I was this gripped by a fictional series about a group of friends. In all honesty, real talk here, I started the Addicted series last year by Krista and Becca Ritchie, and you guys have asked me about it a lot. I only read the first book in the series. I've only read Addicted to You, and like, it was good, but I will continue it, so don't worry, but like, I just like haven't really had any desire to continue it. And when I read this book, when I read this book, it felt like Addicted to You, but like a million times better. Like it gave me everything I wished Addicted to You would. And I know that series gets a lot better. I've heard it a million times, like it gets amazing by the end and you gotta keep reading. And I get that, but like if you don't want to start like a 10, 12 book series right now, but you're looking for those same like dramatic, kind of toxic, you know, big friend group sort of vibes, check out Magnolia Parks, because I'm telling you, it is quite literally everything. This is my favorite book I've read all year. Like I'm gonna proclaim that. I'm gonna say it now. I've read a couple of really good books recently, so I feel like I keep saying like, this is one of my favorites all year, but like, no, you don't understand this. This is my favorite book I've read all year. It's amazing. It is so amazing. I feel like people are gonna ask, it's not spicy. It's not, but you know what? It like didn't need to be. There was like no spice in this book, and I was so turned on. Like I don't know how else to say that. It's like, we didn't need everything spelled out for us. Like the little things we got, the little touches, like the explanations, the moments, there was so much tension and so much heat and so much angst that like I did not need the physical play-by-play. Like I got it all. I got it all and more. It was everything that I needed, and it means the world to me. So yeah, guys, for those of you that have been asking, Magnolia Parks 1000% has Nikki's stamp of approval. I'm going to be shouting about this book from my rooftop for the foreseeable future, so I apologize to any of you that follow me on Instagram, because like it's about to be my whole personality, and I'm seriously about to dive into Daisy Hates like basically immediately. So yes, if you guys have read Magnolia Parks, I would love to hear all your thoughts down below. Do not spoil the rest of this series for me, I swear to God. I went into this book completely blind, did not know a damn thing, and that's how I want to go into the rest of it. So you can generally tell me like, oh my God, I loved that series, and like leave it at that. If we're not talking about this book, don't go any further, please, I beg you. But yes, guys, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.